Hello everyone, I'm Ghazi and I'll be talking about the operating and financial review of Coles Group in the COVID-19 in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Um, in these unfortunate times, many companies aren't doing as they assumed or predicted last year because before the pandemic. However, some companies are doing better than the others. Some companies are almost bankrupt, whereas some have almost doubled their sales. For example, Amazon.com or online shopping companies like Amazon, Kogan, or eBay are doing pretty well. In fact, they have increased their um, multiplied their sales by a large amount. But companies who are providing services like educational services to international students aren't doing that well. For example, Macquarie, UTS, or UNSW. So the operating and financial review at this point in these uncertain times are very important for investors, shareholders to allocate their resources and to make resource allocation decisions. So the OFR of Coles Group have actually from 2019 have actually provided a lot of information, and much of which is extremely helpful and useful for investors. However, um, however, there are some that do not actually uh, aren't in line with the RG247 guide. For example, I'll start with the beginning of the OFR, where they uh, they start the OFR report with highlights and performance overview, except instead of starting with a brief about the usual operations of the company, assuming that the user already knows a large amount or a considerable amount about the company. On the other hand, they have also they have also used they have also used bullet points and very briefly talked about the strategic highlights of the company instead of explaining a little more about what these strategies are, or how the company is utilizing them, or what the company expects to achieve from these strategies in the future. And speaking of the future, they have also doesn't haven't provided much information or uh, much information about where the directors or the authorities see the company going in the future. For example, a forecast of future sales, or risks that they might foresee coming. They actually miss out on a lot of the future long-sightedness in this OFR. So my recommendations and my observation of this OFR is that there are three major problems and three major issues with the OFR that does not isn't in line with the RG247 guide. So starting with the assumption of the user knowing a brief amount already about the company shouldn't be there, because an OFR is required to mention what the company is doing at the moment and its usual operations and its activities. Also, the OFR also has to be enough for a user to understand what the company's strategies are and how they're helping the company in the future and in the present. And the third recommendation would be to add a little more details about the future of the company, a forecast of future sales, or what risks the company is expecting in the future, and what contingencies they have ready for the future, and how those will help them face those risks. So these are the three issues that I've found on the OFR of Coles Group. And yeah, thank you very much.